on the gorgeous YouTube Dog Show. Did you have a nice barbecue? You did? Good. Next, Weeknight the Lady Muller. Tonight, a conversation about barbecues. With Toys Giving Spot, Anthony Shoutout Spotlight is opening, MP and Crackers. And now, ladies and gentlemen, a man who has something to say about barbecues. So, fire up the grill and say hello to Mr. Ellie Congy Muller. Ha! Welcome to Weeknight Update. My name is Ellie Congy. What's up? Alright, the themes are what's composed by Donk Mathis Piano and Toys Gaming Spot and Anthony Shoutout Spotlight is an opening are responsible for some of the things that you will see here on this program tonight, and they are Shoutout Spotlight was tonight, along with Eva Amity Dragball and Hasbro Terrible in 2004. Hopefully she'll return to this program very, very soon. RKG, the Dreamy Lucario Fangirl, Net Power 9, The Buckets, The Bomber Academy Show, Bomber Academy, The 11 Podcast, Late Night Playset, Vicky Comedy, Luca Pikapuki, Pierre Kelly, Kier's Nostalgia Corner, Phil Gibson, Bob Red, Dot Blood Studios, Cassie Dragon, Zoe Dragon, or the Eclipse Global 8, the Legacy Hero. Please check all those people out. Also, please check out Anthony Show's Pop Cultures and Openings other channel, Anthony Showbot. Did I get everything situated? Good. Because you and I have a lot to talk about tonight. But first, it's time for us to find out what's up. What's up with barbecues? They have a lot of meat. What? It's true. Give me a break. Okay? Now, people in London were once told not to use disposable barbecues because of the heat. Wait. It's almost never hot in London. Now, hold on, everyone. This is very interesting. Alright? There's a school in South Carolina that teaches the history of barbecues. Let me say that again. Alright? There's a school in South Carolina that teaches the history of barbecues. Huh? Huh? The history of barbecues? At school? Wow. Wow. I can't believe I'm saying this, but they actually have a class that everyone can pass. My goodness gracious. Well, it's time for another top 8 list. MP, Gregors, you know what to do. That's right, we know what to do, boss. Tonight's category, top 8 things that will make a barbecue awful. Number 8, sweat sandwiches. Number 7, fried guitar strings. Number 6, lotion on the shoe. Number 5, water pipes that will always be busted. Number 4, burning batteries. Number 3, screaming grills. Number 2, King Kong. And number 1, supermodels who never eat food like Cindy Crawford. Well, that was strange. Yes, it was strange, but it was also accurate. Yeah, you're right about that. Thank you, boys. Thanks a lot. You know what, hashtag Weeknight Update, hashtag Everywhere for Late Night, hashtag Everywhere for Adults, hashtag Spread Love Around, and hashtag Autism is Awesome. Get those hashtags and on social media, please. And do I like this thing, subscribing, bell, shoving, chat, the comment section down below. But whatever you do, please, do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with the infantry monologue, Toy Story, the VHS Spotlight, the moment for everyone, target time, random advice, and this week's Count of the Week question. Remember, this is still Weeknight Update, and now here it is, your Night.
I'm so glad I ordered a salad.
Chicken? Where's the rest of the chicken?
I only ordered it for the chicken.
I'm having a love affair every night on the air. The mood is always right with Nick. With Nick at Night.
If you're going out to shop for carpeting, you're in for a shock.
High prices.
Padding and installation. Extra.
6 weeks for delivery.
Well, you know Empire's prices start at only $6.95 a yard, including padding and installation. And you know we deliver in 3 to 4 days and give you a free Bissell shampoo with 2 rooms. And if you call now, you get a free T-shirt with any order. So call Empire. I bet you know the number, too.
588-2300 Empire.
We get classier all the time.
Smith's Furniture is making this Memorial Day really memorable with unforgettable values like these.
Get Smith's lowest prices this year on furniture and bedding, like this Broyhill 4-piece all-wood bedroom, now only $448. Complete 7-piece Broyhill dining room, including china, only $598. Restonic firm bedding, now as low as $49.99 each piece.
Smith's Furniture with an army of savings this Memorial Day. Smith's Furniture, that's who.
Welcome back to the one and only Weeknight Update. Toys Gaming Spot will have another story for everyone in a few moments. But first, fire up the grills, folks, because it's time for the in-between monologue. 75% of the USA's population can be found with grills in every other home. The other 25% should start contacting the doctor immediately. You know, McDonald's used to have barbecues back in the day. Fast food barbecues? Fast food barbecues? Sign me up! The largest barbecue event was held in Nuevo León, Mexico, not too long ago, and 45,000 people attended. That's right, that means that the Super Bowls weren't invited. Now, people have been having barbecues for years. In fact, the first people who had a barbecue were cave people. Don't ask. And finally, Texas has more barbecues than any other state in the USA. That explains why everyone is big over there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time once again for Tori's story. What's the story, Tori?
Hey guys, Tori Mullins here, and welcome back to Tori's Story. So the next story I'm going to be telling you is about barbecues. And here's the story. Tom, his sister, and their mother were driving to a barbecue hosted by his father's family. You make me feel like a Chavier, said his mother. Both of you sitting in the back like that. She turned around nervously, glancing at each of them. Her back was pressed hard against the seat, and her thin fingers gripped the steering wheel as if it was about to fly out her hands. They'll ask you questions about him, she said. We talked about that, remember? I told you what to say. Tom avoided his mother's searching eyes. He looked out the window that was up despite the summer's heat. When his father had bought the car, the winder had been missing. All that remained was a stubby cog. His father's family were gathered in a semicircle around the barbecue. They turned when they saw the car pull into the car park. Tom followed his mother and his sister towards the small group, his bare feet relishing the cool, moist grass. A flock of seagulls hovering on the periphery as the family passed, the gulls cleared a path before quickly returning to their allotted positions. Allotted positions. Tom stood on the edge of the gathering. His uncle Roy cuffed him on the shoulder. How's it, champ? Everything going okay? Roy was Tom's favorite uncle, mostly because he talked to the children in the same way as he talked to the adults. It's good, yeah, replied Tom. I heard about your old man, said Roy, who was now down on one knee. Sorry to hear, buddy. I'm sure things will get better. Tom was unsure of whether Roy meant things would get better now his father was gone, or that they would get when he returned. Tom could see his mother eyeing them anxiously, her brother straining against the conversation she was engaged in. He's not a bad man, your dad. I like him. He just needs to sort some things out. You know that you don't. You know that you don't? Yeah, replied Tom. Finally, his mother was next to him, shooing him towards the cluster of children on the grass. Let the adults talk, sweetie, she said, her arm gently guiding him away. Careful of the road, okay? The 5 kids were feeding bread to the seagulls. Each of them held one piece. You're only allowed one slice, okay? Said his cousin Eleanor, a chubby blonde girl who was fond of giving directions. Tom accepted the bread. He tore off a small chunk so the slice would last longer. One at a time, the children threw the pieces of bread up as high as they could, watching as the bird squabbled mid-air over the morsels. Tom thought about how much his bread controlled the gulls' movements. The birds would go wherever the bread did. Tom broke away from the main group and began leading one and then 2 seagulls towards the road. Watch this, said Tom, who was laughing now. They go wherever I want them to go. Then he tore off an extra large piece of bread, bowled it up, and lobbed it onto the road. His aim was perfect. The bread landed on the road, a few inches inside of the white line. The children watched as a single seagull, quicker than the rest, or hungrier, flew towards the bread, its claws dangling ready. A hollow wind signaled an approaching car. One of the children, Tom wasn't sure who, wailed in frightened anticipation. The bird landed on the bread at exactly the same time as the Tyree did. The car was a black blur. It was there and then it was gone. Tom turned away from the scene. He could hear what remained of the bird, and in inexplicable squawk that emitted across the now silent park. He refused to look at the road, so instead he looked to the adults. They were motionless, their food or drink suspended in its path, the shape of their mouths defined by the last word that had left their lips. Beside him, Eleanor began to cry. "Tom killed it!" she cried. "Why did he do that? Tom killed the bird!" A gasp came from the gasp came from one of the adults. Another child began to cry. Still the bird moaned. Tom sought out his mother's face. He was determined not to cry, but he needed her reassurance. She looked into his face briefly, then she turned away. Moments later, she was beside him, but it was too late, for her doubt had engulfed him. He buried his face in his shoulder and closed his eyes tightly as he could, focusing on the smell of the cotton and the warmth of the body beneath. The ride home felt much longer than the journey there. For some time, the bird had continued to moan, causing another child to wail. Eventually, Uncle Roy had climbed the barricade and silenced the bird beneath his boot. "It's okay, Tom," said his mother. "It was an accident. That's all it was. You didn't mean it, did you?" "I'm sorry," said Tom. "Don't be sorry. It's not your fault." They were not far from home when his mother pulled the car over to the side of the road. She released her hands from their tight grip on the steering wheel. Then she sighed, slumped forward, and softly began to cry. Tom eyed the window that wouldn't go down. Then he opened the door, climbed out, and began walking away from the car, up the highway, and towards their house. The end. That's the story about barbecues. So, stay tuned where I tell the next story. Bye, guys.
Thank you very much, Tori. That was fantastic. Now, everyone loves vintage VHS tapes, right? Well, with that in mind, it's time once again for the VHS Spotlight with Anthony Shoutout Pop Culture as an opening.
It's your favorite YouTuber, actual pop culture, midnight hours, no more on YouTube, midnight hours movie Weatherman. It's time for my VHS, Congy Miller VHS Spotlight, Golden Jubilee, Bugs Bunny, Wacky Adventures. It's a good tape and everything. Got this from Josh Cook almost 2 weeks ago. As I did, in the Cartoon Hall of Fame, one pair of ear card towers above all the rest, and they belong to Bugs Bunny. He won an Academy Award in his own primetime TV special. He rose from the ranks of supporting players in Porky's Hare Hunt, becomes a full-fledged star in Wild Hair just 2 years, and become top ever since. Bugs Bunny's was the hallmark of his career, his equal physical comedy as a wrestling spook Bunny had hugged. Dialogue flowing with Daffy Duck, Duck Rabbit Duck, and music long hair. Of course, Bugs Bunny has helped years from creative directors, writers, and very competitive co-stars Elmer Fudd, Yosemite Sam. I'm sure he would be the first to acknowledge the environment system Mel Blanc. Bugs Bunny is just one of the great cartoon stars of all time. He's a great movie star. He has a career comparable to that of Clark Gable, Humphrey Bogart, well known around the world. But like someone's movie competitors like a 1920 probably ever, and that's the truth, Doc Leonard Martin. Cartoon, long-haired bunny hugged. The great Roman hairdo, bully for Ellie, Duck, Rabbit Duck, Leonard film critic, naturally syndicated, and tonight. History of American comedy and cartoon. That's a good author and everything. Good tape. And the print date is Later copy of June 15, 1990. Warner Brothers, I'll tell you what it has. It has the FBI warning, the Warner Home Video Warner Communications logo, the Warner Looney Tunes theme. The start had the end credits, has the beginning of the movie, had the end credits, had the Bug Bunny, That's Not All, folks. Had the white screen and blue screen. What do you think about this tape? It's a good tape, y'all. Now, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and show Pop Open. Midnight Hours #1 YouTube, Midnight Hours Movie. Weatherman. You can follow me on Facebook Live, my Rumble, Daily Emotion, Catch with Fem No. Click on notification you want to do. Come on for fun. So I got 1.29k subs. The road to 2k subs continue. You can follow me in Clean Tabs. I do a podcast and Podbean. That'll be up. And next week on that, what I think about this thing, it's good and everything. So, what thoughts? What's up, Doc? And everything. And this tape is good and everything. I'll try to get to all of them at some point. So yeah, it's a good tape and everything. So yeah. So it's a good tape, and I can do my Bug Bunny impersonation. What's up, Doc? What do you think about this tape? So I'll leave Kung Email description. This is your boy Anthony Chabot signing out. So yeah, thank you, Kung Email. So yeah, Anthony out.
Thank you very much, Anthony. I must say this, you have excellent VHS tapes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment for everyone, huh? You know, folks, summer is rapidly approaching, and that means barbecue season is also upon us. Now, barbecues must have food, fun, games, and people who want to have fun and eat some food. Of course, some barbecues are better than others. How can you know that for sure? Listen to this, alright? If people are fighting while the food is being served, then the barbecue will be a bad one. Alright? Here's another piece of advice for you, alright? If a supermodel shows up and you know that the supermodel isn't going to eat anything because supermodels don't eat, then the barbecue will be a disaster. Actually, I meant to say that was another sign, but here are a few more signs, alright? If a raccoon eats everything up at a barbecue, then your barbecue will be over before it can even begin. If a bodybuilder destroys your house, then your barbecue won't last long. If a supermodel thinks that your barbecue is just a setup for her sex tape, then your barbecue is in trouble. If the MTV people show up, then your barbecue will be ruined. If a goat, now listen to me carefully, folks. If a goat eats your loved ones, then the barbecue must end immediately. And finally, if an extreme dieter shows up and tells you that that person wants to be skinnier than a supermodel and a bodybuilder, then your barbecue will be flushed down the toilet. Are we clear on that? Good. Woo! I have said a mouthful already, but this thing isn't over yet. Oh no. Why? Because it's time for us to have a little talking time. Let's go. Now listen to this, folks. Alright? Apparently, the people in London were told not to mess with the disposable barbecues. Because apparently, barbecues plus massive heat wave equals a massive wildfire. And while Paul McCourt, the assistant commissioner of the London Fire Brigade, makes a little bit of sense, you still get the feeling that he didn't attend the same meetings that everyone else has attended. This is what he said, alright? Please don't have a barbecue on a balcony or on decking. And please do keep children and pets away from the barbecues. Now, The second half of that is spot on. However, I don't know if the first part has anything to do with wildfires and things like that. I mean, normally people would have a barbecue in the backyard, not on the roof. So I don't know. I don't know. Now, here's something else that might surprise you. Now, this is ridiculous, alright? The University of South Carolina has a special class for everyone who's attending that university. Barbecue history. That's right. At the University of South Carolina, people will be able to graduate if they know a little thing called barbecue history. In other words, when did the barbecue, for example, when did the first barbecue take place? You know, how to make a certain type of food on the grill, this and that and the third and the fourth. Now, I don't know if that's such a good idea. I mean, mixing barbecues with school is like combining peanut butter with shoes. I mean, come on. Think about it, folks. Think about it. Now, how about a little random advice for the road, huh? If you're about to have a barbecue and a supermodel shows up, then don't expect the supermodel to stay and eat because supermodels love starving themselves. Your barbecue will be a huge failure if you serve urine burgers. Always make sure that everyone eats at the barbecue. Never pee on the grill. And finally, remember that supermodels and barbecues don't mix. Why? Because supermodels don't eat anything. Also, please enjoy the food. Food makes a barbecue delicious. Now, it's the beginning of another week, and that means one thing and one thing only. Yes, that's right. We have to go over this week's Count of the Week question for the first time this week. Here we go. What would you do if someone poured maple syrup on your chicken and burgers during a barbecue? Go over to the post section of my YouTube channel page and answer that question as honestly and as thoughtfully as you can. Tomorrow night on this program, you and I will talk about lawn chairs together. Then on Wednesday, we'll talk about hammocks. Thursday, we'll talk about Mario. And Friday, we'll talk about maple syrup. That's right. We'll talk about maple syrup on Friday. Toys Gaming Spot will be here all week. And Christian Freight Tees, Mild Shocker, Candy Bar Tunes, and GD Cube, YouTube, aka GD Cube, will be here on Friday. Woo! It is going to be a fantastic week. One of these days, Ibrahim, the Dragon Ball and Hasbro Turbo 2004 will actually return to this program. But until that time comes, we gotta keep going. So, until tomorrow night, that's news. I am out skis, worldwide for all.
I'm having a love affair every night on the air. The mood is always right with Nick at night.